Does your spouse have a big decision to make or a choice they need to make and they won't do it?
Welcome to Marriage Monthly. We're Gabe and Melissa Kolstad, and we want to help you build a healthy, lifelong marriage. We get together every single month with a podcast designed to just give you practical tips to help you grow in your marriage, and we can't wait to spend some time with you.
Ooh.
It's kind of what we're talking about today.
Help, my spouse needs to make a change.
Yes. Part one.
Part one.
This is
That's
so much.
it.
We're doing 2 parts.
I know this is a big topic.
It's a huge topic.
We've been talking about it because maybe it's the time of the year with the holidays and coming up and, stressful situations and all.
I've just had a lot of conversations lately that made me think.
So many questions come to us all the time. Yeah.
Talk about this. Your spouse is stuck, and they're stuck, and you're frustrated because they're stuck, and you want to see a change. And so actually it's funny because you would think we're going to be talking to the spouse that's stuck.
Right.
We're not. That's part 2. Today, we decided we're going to be talking about the one that's frustrated. We're going to talk about the spouse that's watching and waiting
for their spouse to
make a change, which can be hard. It's frustrating. I mean, they waiting for like a new job, a new relationship, a health diagnosis. They need to go to the doctor. They're sick or something. They won't go in or anything like that, or an addiction. I mean, that's huge too.
Yeah.
We've had lots of conversations about that recently. It can be hard. I love this scripture though. Ephesians 4:2 says, "Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love." And I think that's really important.
That really is. It kind of puts the whole thing on a safe framework, I think, and also in light of unconditional love and this commitment that we made for better or for worse, right? And we're gonna talk about all of that stuff. But we really wanted to really approach this with some help for those, like you said, who've been watching and waiting, and maybe that's you, and you want to do the right thing, you want to stay committed. You're also very frustrated. It's been a long time. You know that a change needs to happen. They probably know that a change needs to happen, and maybe you're at the end of your rope and you just don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So we wanted to walk through some scriptural support and some guidance from God on what to do. And so the first thing that we really feel strongly that you need to do if you're going to move through this situation, if you're going to move through the time when you've been waiting and you're frustrated, you've got to commit again. That's the first thing. You got to commit again to remember your vows. That's really,
we always talk about this.
It's true. Huge. It's like, man, you can't get around a marriage improvement plan without stopping to go, wait, what about the commitment? Because the crack in the commitment is usually one of the problems if a marriage isn't working well. It's a crack in the commitment. It's some perception that, are we sure we're good here? And it's that little doubt that the enemy wants to plant in our minds that goes like, what if she doesn't stay?
Yeah. Or what if he gives up on me?
What if they give up on me, and or what if they punish me for the rest of my life? Or there's these little questions, and or on the other side, if you're the one waiting for the other person to change, you might be thinking like, well, what else are they doing? Well, what else don't I know? And so there's these doubts and these cracks,
frustration.
And so we the only way to solve this, go right back to the Lord, right back to the vows that we made to each other. And personally, I like to emotionalize it in the sense that I like to go back and remember you and me standing on at the altar, and the day of our wedding, and we keep pictures around for that very reason.
Absolutely,
like next to the spot where you sit on one couch at home very often, I sit on the other one. That might sound weird, but they're really close. The spots are really close to each other. So we're not trying to stay apart.
Well, you want to lay down around 8:30 and fall asleep. So
I do like
you
that.
Need the whole
but also,
love seat.
I like the straight on view of the TV, and you don't mind the I don't know why you.
That's probably why I have neck issues.
It probably is
turning sideways to watch TV.
And this is turning into a whole nother podcast. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
But anyways, right between our seats is a framed picture of our wedding day.
Yeah,
and I look at it all the time, every single day, multiple times. I look at that thing, and I'm always reminded that we made a vow that is for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, until death do us part. And
that's right.
We've kept it, and we intend to keep it. And
I think it's also funny too that we have faith things all around the house.
Yeah,
like I have pictures on the walls and stuff about commitment and about our relationship and stuff like that, because it's like it matters. And every time I glance at them, I'm getting ready in the morning, I see my 1 Corinthians 13, and I see my stuff, and I look at them every single day.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of stuff that constantly in your face is good.
Reinforcements all the time. Absolutely.
Commitment matters.
It really
matters.
does. Remember your vows. Do this with the Lord first. I think that's important. Do it with the Lord first. To go back and go like, Lord, help me to remember my vows. Go back and thank God for your spouse. Go back and relive your wedding day. Relive that moment. Relive those words that you said. You said those words to God, before God, to a pastor, to your spouse, with witnesses. You said, till death do us part. And I realize that there are reasons why in Scripture a marriage commitment can be broken or is broken. The vows are nullified. Is very few reasons.
Yeah.
And it's really, I think it's the 3 Ds. I think we've mentioned this not that long ago in our podcast, but it's so important to go back to that, to go like, it's death, it's defilement, which would be adultery, and it's desertion, meaning you married a non-believer and they left. And those are the 3 reasons that Scripture gives on nullifying a marriage contract. A marriage, it's not a contract, it's a vow, right?
But what's interesting is even the defilement one, I have seen people restore that.
Yeah. It's never plan A. Never plan A, right?
I mean, yeah. Oh, man. But if there has been a slip up, I have seen couples overcome it. I don't know how. That seems so hard, but I'm so proud of the people that
Me too.
have enough faith and trust that they could ready to rebuild.
So go back to that. Get your heart back in that place of commitment. Going, I'm not basing all of my action based on their action. I'm basing my action on my commitment to the Lord and His power through me to be faithful. I think that's the way to do it. Ecclesiastes 5:4-5 says, when you make a vow to God, do not delay to fulfill it. He has no pleasure in fools. He says, fulfill your vow. So strong. Matthew 19:6, therefore what God has joined together, let no one separate. And just such a powerful reminder. And, the world around us needs to see that. I think we're re-elevating. We hope we're re-elevating the value of marriage and the fame of marriage and the worth of marriage, to go, it's awesome. We want to see everyone who's married to live healthy, lifelong, happy marriage, honoring God and setting an example to the world. So that's the first thing. If you've got a spouse that needs to change and you're frustrated, go back to your commitment, because it's the only strong foundation to build on.
So don't give up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, number 2 we have here is pray until you have an attitude of restoration. And that might sound weird, because we're like, oh, I'm going to pray for them that they're going to make this decision. They'll stop doing this. They'll start doing this, that kind of thing. And I mean, okay, do that, but also pray for your heart to be softened to them, and that you would have this attitude of restoring what's broken or what's not going well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we don't want to do that. We want to shove it their way and be like, this is your problem, get it done. Like, I'm sick of this, and complain and make them feel like failures, and that's easier sometimes than just surrendering and praying for them and for you to soften up and have a kinder heart.
You know what that reminds me of?
Yeah.
Somebody was talking about prayer, and they were like, man, I've been praying for so long and I don't really want to do this. And there was this advice from this old sage about prayer, and they said, pray until you feel like praying. And it makes me think of this. It's like you're praying through for restoration, because you're asking God to change your heart to want to restore.
Yeah.
And because until that happens, it's it's going to be really difficult to deal with anything.
And I think outside of prayer is your own control of the situation, and it's through prayer that you're surrendering that whole thing to God. And I mean, so in Scripture, if you remember right, in Luke 22, Jesus prays for Peter's faith to not fail, but he knows he's going to fail. Which is kind of interesting. I'm going to pray that you don't fail, even though I know he's gonna fumble, right? And then in John 21, Jesus restores Peter lovingly and patiently after he does do his colossal fail. But he restores them lovingly and patiently, showing how we can pray for and believe in restoration for our spouse. And so I think that's really important, is that we can look at Jesus. Jesus took the humble servant path every time. And that is what we need to do. How can I serve you through this hard time or whatever? Because it's easy for me to be mad at them for not doing what they should do.
Who's them? Are you talking about
the other spouse?
Some other person.
Do you have a thing?
I'm just saying, like you said, it was easy for you to be mad at them.
It is, don't you think? I mean, it's easy to say I'm just mad because you're not getting your act together. You're not moving fast enough. You're not making this decision fast enough. But it's like it's
whenever our expectations
so
are
mad.
met.
You get so mad, and it's like, how about you just back up a couple steps and remember that Jesus handled things softer and more gently and in a more peaceful way, and he got his way. But he didn't do it the way that we would do it. He did it the right way, which means we need to do it the right way. So pray for your attitude as you're working with your spouse through a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that affects the timing too, because there was something about Jesus with that Peter thing where it was based on Peter's readiness.
Yeah.
There was a readiness to acknowledge his need to change. And so that's, like you said, that's totally, you have to release control in order to...
Right. Well, and let me just say that your spouse is frustrated too if they need to make a big decision or they're in the midst of addiction or whatever it is. They know they need to change. They know this. So the constant nagging doesn't always help. I think it just makes them feel more like a failure and more digging into the pit of frustration for them a lot of times. So if we can come at that with a softer way through Jesus and through prayer, I think that might work better. So, I mean, Philippians 4:6-7 says, in every situation by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. I mean, just lay them at Jesus' feet, and make sure your heart is in the right place and humble as well. There's a book called Power of a Praying Wife by Stormy O'Martian. I love it. I read it years ago. It's so good if you're struggling, you need to pray for your spouse. And I looked today, and she also wrote a Power of a Praying Husband.
Oh, fantastic.
So it works both ways. So go online and grab that book.
We'll
and
stick that link in the description.
Yeah, so you could just really learn how to pray for your spouse in a really deep and really intentional way. It's a really great book.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So we have number 1, we had commit again. Number 2, pray until you have an attitude of restoration. Number 3 is reassure them of your love and commitment.
Oh, this is so big.
By now, some of you might be like, when are you going to get to the part where I go confront them? Okay, just chill for a second, because I know we're talking about you right now.
Yeah.
First of all, because it has to be that way. I mean, we've watched so many times, right? And we've even tried, I mean, like, not like we don't deal with any of these issues. We've tried to fix each other and realized, you can approach something that needs to change in your marriage. It's just, if you do it this way, you're not going to drive a further wedge.
Yes.
So the third thing is reassure them of your love and commitment, because they have a choice as to whether they participate or not. And that's the hard part, is you're dealing with a human being that has a free will. And that is so maddening, isn't it?
And they're stumbling a lot.
Yeah. And so what they need is to be reassured of your love and commitment. You're going to deal with this with the Lord and go back and say, I'm committed to you, Lord, and I'm committed to the vows that I made for you. And now I can share that with them, that I'm here with you, And there's been many times in our marriage of 30 plus years where Melissa's constantly reminding me, we're in it together. I'm with you.
It's just you and me.
It's just you and me. and some of those haven't been like, on the rainbows and unicorn days. And so knowing that the person that you're with is like, they're going to stay with you.
It's your cheerleader. You're number one.
Thing.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah, so much. I love that.
1 John 4 says, perfect love drives out fear. I love that. So beautiful to think there's no fear in love. Perfect love drives out fear. That you just don't have to be afraid. So if you think that you have a tone of threatening, if you think that you might have a tone of creating fear, or if you're trying to inadvertently use fear to control your spouse into changing, please stop.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Wow.
Lay
That's
that down.
so good, babe.
Because it's going to backfire.
It does.
It's
Have you tried that with your children?
Yeah.
It really doesn't work well.
Yeah. Song of Solomon 8:6 says, place me like a seal over your heart, for love is as strong as death.
Oh.
You get those lovers in Song of Solomon.
Yes.
And I think the idea that we want to impress is we know that you're frustrated with something that's going on in your marriage or in your home.
Yeah.
And this is about the pre-work. These 3 things we've talked about, these are about the pre-work. This is like preparing the ground. If you were gonna plant a beautiful garden, You don't just walk out in the backyard and throw a bunch of seeds at the ground.
Yeah.
You go, wait, let's till the soil. Let's pull the weeds out. Let's get any rocks out. Let's fertilize the ground. Let's set up the sprinkler system, And so this is like that work. Like you're going to do some work, but it's so important.
Yeah.
It's like prepare for it like you would a major speech. Prepare for it like you would, anything big in your life, because the stakes are really high, and you want them to feel your love and the security of your relationship, so that then you can do the next thing.
Yeah, which this is one that some of you have been waiting for. Have the hard conversation. Yeah. Number 4, have the hard conversation. And I mean, when I say hard conversation, I don't mean yelling match.
Yeah.
Like an anger yelling match. I don't mean that. I just mean like this is a time that we bring it up. We're saying, okay, this has got to change. Like, what are we going to do about this? They already know. You've probably already had the conversation multiple times, but there's comes a point when your heart is soft and gentle toward your spouse that you can say, okay, let's talk about this financial situation,
right.
Or let's talk about this addiction. Let's talk about this job change. Let's talk about this relationship that needs to get better or go away, those kind of things. And I think that moment of the hard conversation has got to be prepared with a soft and tender heart through the prayer and through the commitment and through all that stuff that already happened beforehand. Yeah. So then when you come to this, and I don't know if you've ever had a hard conversation that you're thinking, this is going to suck, this is going to suck, this is going to suck. And then you get into it with that soft, gentle spirit and it doesn't suck. Yeah. It actually works. And there's actually really great conversation that flows. And you're just like, wow, okay, we might get a game plan out of this. We might figure this out. And all hard conversations, and most of the time for me, they come out good.
Yeah.
They come out like, okay, all right, as long as the right heart's happening.
I think people really do respect because it's risky for anybody to approach something in a relationship that needs to be corrected. It's risky, and people know that. So I think if you do it like that, people respect and appreciate and realize it's coming from a place of love, because this person had to take a risk just to bring this up, and it's uncomfortable for them. And so they went through that discomfort for the sake of the relationship. I think most people, when it's done like that, they recognize that.
I agree. And I just think in the hard conversations, you always dread, but when you're done with the hard conversations, there's always like a peace that comes over you. You're like, okay, that went better than I thought. That's what happens a lot with me, because God prepared the way. Yeah. And that's a lot of times is if you do the other things, God has laid this out for you for this moment to be like, how are we going to fix this? Like, let's talk about this. How did we get to this point? And what are we going to do to get past this point to make this better? And I think at this point, sometimes I would just say, sometimes it might be bigger than just your guys' conversation. You might need to bring in a counselor. For sure. Go to couples counseling or something like that. And don't be afraid of that, because I just think sometimes if you don't know how to sort it out in your brain, I don't always know how to sort things out in my brain. So sometimes that bringing someone else in can kind of bring in a neutral ground, of someone that can be like, hey, so have you thought about this? Have you, can bring in some
And I mean, just to pause for a second on that, because it could be... it could be scary if the other person doesn't know you're going to bring somebody in.
No, I think you should.
Like, so no surprises probably on that, but yeah, it could be super helpful.
Yeah, I mean, if this has been going on for a long time too, sometimes you need a third party. Yep. I mean, that's just what it is. But anyways, Ephesians 4:15 says, "Speak the truth in love," and I love this. Speak the truth in love, because we are told to speak the truth. You are hurting yourself by whatever situation this is, and how are we going to fix this, right? It's like, how are we going to make this better? And I think that's really important. So, but when you're speaking the truth, you do it with a kind and gentle heart, with love. Yeah. And I think that's sometimes, we'll speak the truth all day long. I'm going to speak the truth to you. Yeah. But it's like we're not doing it with love at all. So Ephesians 4:15 is so powerful. And Proverbs 27:6 says, wounds from a friend can be trusted. And this is so interesting to me, because you think, I don't ever want to be wounded, especially by a friend. But when you trust and love that person, like your spouse, and they say, oh, we need to fix this, or we need to do better here, or let's get some help here, and you don't want to hear, I was just thinking, this is funny, it just popped in my head, you're going to kill me. Years ago, I could not get Gabe to go to the gym ever. It drove me absolutely crazy. I'd be like, oh, you need to go to the gym. I don't want you to have a heart attack. You are so busy. You're so wound, so driven. And I was always worried that this guy's gonna have a heart attack and leave me here. And I'm like so irritated, and I'm a gym rat. So, but I tried not to bother him or be like, you need to go to the gym. You need to go to the gym. I never did that. I just kept going to the gym.
Yeah.
I just kept doing what I knew I need to do. And I'd tell him, baby, you want to go to the gym with me? Or, hey, you want to get a membership? That kind of thing. But I was trying not to hurt his feelings. But at some point along the line, I was like, oh, I need you to start working out.
Yeah.
I need you to be around.
Truthfully, the reason is more powerful than the reminder. So to speak.
Because I want you around for a long time.
Because then you're like, oh, you want me around? Oh, this isn't about
yeah, baby.
Yeah, that's really great.
I want you around for our kids and all this stuff. And so a few years ago, he just started going regularly, a couple, 3 times a week, and then walks on the off days when we don't go to the gym.
Yeah.
You're moving all the time. And I love that because I think that's important. That's a huge, important thing to me. And so I'm so happy that that's something that you have embraced because it makes me feel good about our future as we're getting older and what that looks like. But but it's one of those things where I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but at some point I was like, I really, really want to have you around forever. Please, can you make health the priority?
And there are, that was very gentle, and you were very gentle about that. I also think there are times when you got to be super clear. Like, you can't dance around a porn
That's
addiction.
True.
You can't dance around stuff like that. You can't dance around alcoholism, unbridled spending. You can't dance around that stuff. You have to be clear.
Straight
and clear,
up. Yeah.
Clear is not mean. Clear is kind. And so I think, having a hard conversation, the reason it's hard is because you're going to say something that is a contradiction to the way the other person is behaving.
Yeah, so they're going to be defensive, most likely.
There's probably going to be some defensiveness. What you're saying is, I need you to change this.
Yeah.
And you can say it nice and all that, but there are times when you just gotta lay it down.
Yeah.
And
no, I agree.
As long as you've paved the way with the unconditional love and the reminder of the commitment and all that, and even the reasons of I want you around, then you could say something like, if you don't stop the way you're doing this, you're gonna have a heart attack. And you can say that.
And the wound is because I love you.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, scripture that says the wounds from a friend can be trusted, but that comes from a heart of love, right? And so, and then I love James 1:19. Everybody should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. There's a reason we have one mouth and 2 ears, right? And so a lot of times I think it's important to just hear what they're saying too. Yeah. And as they share during a hard conversation, don't just puke out your stuff. Let's reciprocate, let them talk too, but come at it as a team, ready to do it together, talk it out patiently. They are nervous and fearful. They already know.
Yep.
They already know.
Very much.
So they're already nervous and fearful for the next step. So help them know that they're not alone and that you'll be with them every step of the way and that God is with them. That's really, really important to me.
Yeah. So number 5 is champion, don't control. That's hard because we're all controllers. We might pretend like we're not. Everybody wants to control the other person that they're with because what did you marry him for? So you could change him, right? No, I'm just kidding. But we all think in our minds, she'll come to my point of view or he'll come to my point of view. And so there is this impulse to control that we all have. And I think what we can do, I like the idea of looking at it like, we're on the same side of the table. So we're going to sit on this side of the table and we're going to look I'm not looking across the table at you going like, you're the problem. We're together on this side of the table and I want to put my arm around you and we're going to say, let's attack that problem together. And it's just a whole different approach, I think, when you say, I want to be your champion for this.
You said that, and let me just say, because we've talked about this so many times, but sometimes the best place to do hard conversations and these kind of things, champion your spouse, is in a car, right? Because you just said we're side by side. It's not quite as intimidating as right in front of the face.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, if I need to, I could jump out the car while it's
not when I'm holding onto your hand.
Oh yeah, true. But Galatians 6 says, if someone's caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently. Yeah, that's great language. If you're gently. And if you're gonna do it for some rando in the church, or you know what I mean,
right?
Like we're talking about the person that we committed the rest of our life to. Yeah. So don't skip over that person and go like, I'm gonna give all my gentleness to these other people that I don't live with, but not my spouse.
Yeah,
she or he deserves even more gentleness.
Yep.
Philippians 2 says, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others.
Yeah.
And what we kind of think like on this would be championing means believing the best, cheering them on, not forcing your agenda. Here's, I think, where it gets nitty gritty is like let's say you had come to me about the gym thing as an example and said, okay, here's what you need to do. I want you to go to the gym 4 times a week, and you need to go to these classes, and all that. And I would have been like, stop.
Right. You got to do it your way.
Yeah. And so it's more about going, how can I, what do you see? We thought about bringing a yellow pad out here, let's brainstorm together. Like, what do you see? How can I help you? What ideas do you have? It's like real coaching in that sense. Coaching is about helping the other person generate ideas of their own to solve a problem that we all see they're going to solve.
Yeah.
And I think that might be it, is like, how do I help them generate ideas, bridge the gap?
Yeah.
And remember, if you're the champion, that doesn't mean you're the goal setter. They have to be the goal setter. I think that's really, really important. We don't set goals for other people.
Right.
We can hold people accountable to the goals they set for themselves, but they're smart enough to, and especially if we give them that dignity to go like, hey, you're smart enough to figure this out.
Yeah.
I want to be here to support you as you do. What ideas do you have?
Yeah.
That's a way to champion people, not to control them.
Yeah.
And, keep that control down. Keep that monster down.
I agree. I think it's easy to try to control, but yet at the same time, it's frustrating, when you're trying to control your spouse trying to control you can't stand it. It's so frustrating. So it's like, we got to really step back and be like, I'm your cheerleader. So I'm going to cheer you on for greatness. I'm not going to control your greatness and where you go and what you do. I also thought of something that, I'm just going to say this. Don't make a big deal out of everything. Like, that's a big deal for me. Like, we're literally talking about your spouse needs to do something and you're waiting for them to do it. But maybe your spouse doesn't need to do what you think they need to do. So I'm just going to throw that out there. It wasn't in the notes, but sometimes the big stuff that needs to change. You've talked about it. You guys know, like, it's this thing, it's that thing. It's like, oh, we got to change this. But sometimes we make our own, because you were saying not controlling each other. Sometimes we're like, you need to do this. This is really important. This is going to happen. Like, I'm waiting for you to do this. And I was like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's, what's a negotiable, what's a non-negotiable?
Yeah.
Like, don't.
Can I show an example?
Well, go ahead.
Okay, last week, Melissa was gone on Wednesday. She was with her sister-in-law at a baby shower in Phoenix, right?
Yes.
And so I was home all by myself.
Yeah.
Had to manage the house all by myself.
Yeah.
And I led our growth group by myself. And so there's 14 of us.
Yeah.
And I thought I did a fantastic job. Ask any of the group members. It was fun.
Okay.
I even had like a mixer question. So,
wow.
I channeled
Impressive.
Melissa in this meeting.
Good job.
And so there were 2 people that brought snacks, and they were good. The snacks were really good. So one of them brought these molasses, like they were kind of like ginger snaps or something, but they were molasses.
Yeah.
And so they were so good. And then we had this other like cheese thing and all that. Anyways, I'm telling you all this because I loved the snacks. And then when Melissa got home, I told her about the snacks. And then she said, and you didn't save me any of those cookies? And I thought to myself, it's the same old me coming out again, But what's funny is she was joking and she never brought it up again. But then on Sunday, the lady that had brought the cookies brought Melissa some of those cookies.
Yeah.
and so we had this funny conversation. Like, if I was thinking straight, I would have thought I should save some cookies for Melissa, but because I was being selfish.
Yes. And the funny part is you're like, I saved the rice crackers. I'm like, why would I eat rice crackers? Why would I even eat those? Like, I want the molasses cookies. And then Anne brought me 5 molasses cookies on Sunday. Because she knows
but
my heart.
But the point I was trying to make is it's great that you don't make a big deal out of everything, because some spouses might, they're like, oh, you just don't care about me. You never think about me. Yeah. Sorry, blew it again.
No, I agree. I think, just, as you champion your spouse, champion their things. You're saying their goals, their stuff that they need to do. And if they need something that's glaringly ruining your relationship, then yes, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But some things, come on. Like, let some stuff go. Chicks are the worst at this. Let me just say that. You guys want to make a big deal out of everything. Just dial it down. Just take it down a notch. Okay, I think this might be the last one, but number 6, boundaries and consequences. Okay, there was a movie that came out years ago. It's called Fireproof by Kirk Cameron.
Really
all us early 90s girls know who Kirk Cameron is.
Oh.
And we loved him. Anyways, but it was so good. But it comes to this point. He has a porn addiction in this movie. And it comes to this point that he's like, I can't live like this anymore. Like, I cannot live like this anymore. I'm ruining my relationship with my family, my spouse, my kids. everything is ruined because I am so obsessed with porn. And so there's this point in the movie where he grabs his computer and he literally throws it out the window.
Back when monitors were
it was a big sucker.
Yeah.
It was a big one. He throws it out the window. And I just thought, man, there's a consequence and a boundary he just laid down.
Yeah.
Like he was like, if I can't handle this, I'm going to get rid of the thing that's bringing it into the house that's ruining my relationship. Then he spent the next several months proving to his wife and his family that he loved them and that he was trustworthy and that he was going to put them first. Because a lot of times you see a porn addiction or alcohol or drugs or whatever, and there's a long road that has come to this really bad spot. And it's a lot of lying, a lot of cheating, a lot of sneaking around. It's a lot of crud that's happened for a long time. And then there's a head at it where it's like, done. I'm not putting up with this anymore. And there's got to be some consequences for the actions, and there's got to be some boundaries put in place so it doesn't happen again. And so that's a hard thing to be at.
It is, but it's important that you as a spouse know how to put your own boundaries down. So as an example in that situation, like that's unacceptable. I mean, porn should be unacceptable in our relationships. It's idolizing a naked other person. It's
not your spouse.
It's sexual attention going away from your spouse.
And it never works. It doesn't enhance your relationship. It never enhances your relationship. It ruins it.
I mean, and God calls it filthy. Like it's absolutely a sin.
Yeah.
And so to have that boundary is right.
Yeah.
And for you to feel that you are scripturally backed by having that boundary, it's important. And so don't put up with that. So have your boundaries and enforce consequences. And then the person making the changes, I love it because Kirk Cameron, he throws this thing out. He enforces his own consequences.
He did.
I mean, that's the ideal thing,
I got to fix this. Yeah.
And then that's where that book, The Love Dare, came from.
The Love Dare
40
came from
days
that. And that's super good. We did The Love Dare years ago, and it was really good.
Yeah.
Great book. So anyways, I love that. So Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So guard the heart. Make sure that you are pouring yourself into scripture and prayer and church and community that is uplifting and positive and spiritual. And that kind of directs you into the right way to live. And so when you're having these boundaries, so Gabe and I have talked about this before, we don't ride with the opposite sex in our car.
Yeah.
I don't take guys home from church. I don't go have coffee dates with other guys. He doesn't do counseling alone with women, you know? And so it's like, it's just some boundaries we've got, not because we've ever slipped up. We never have. I think it's because we have boundaries in place that there's never been the opportunity. Proactive.
Somebody said, I'd rather go overboard than be thrown overboard.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to boundaries like that, I think that's really important.
So to me, I mean, more boundaries, the better.
Yeah.
And then if a boundary is crossed and things happen, what's the consequence for that? Because there's got to be consequences like for that. I mean, take away those car keys, like do whatever needs to happen to set those boundaries and those consequences in place. Needs to happen both ways. And we'll probably talk a little bit more about this next month when we're talking about the other side of it.
Yeah, we're going to flip the tables next month.
We're going to flip the tables next month.
Talk for the person who's trying to make that change. And so maybe you're listening right now and you're like, that's me. I'm going to tune in next month. Great. I mean, and we're encouraging you. We're going to we're here in your corner. We're excited to see God move in your life.
We want to help you with those steps to make those decisions and choices to go forward. So you don't feel, because you feel in bondage. You feel, and nobody wants to feel like that. But boundaries protect your love, and consequences invite responsibility.
Yeah.
And so what needs to be in place to protect my spouse, like he threw away the computer, right? Yeah. Or to help them with that bold next step, what needs to happen? Make that meeting, apply for that job, make that counseling appointment, take away those car keys, whatever needs to happen, but make sure those guardrails are in place, because that's protection for your relationship. And as you're championing your spouse with this big decision or this big choice or whatever big things happening in their life, and you're championing that, remember to do it with such love and compassion, but also there's got to be a point where there's the conversation and there's those boundaries and things in place to just help them get on track.
For sure.
Yeah, but you champion that. Don't control it.
Yeah. One thing I want to call out as we wrap this up is that you might be frustrated because you have moved, meaning sometimes what we see is that a couple gets married and then they go about their life, and sometimes one of the people starts to grow spiritually. Maybe you got married when neither one of you were Christians, and now you're a Christian, and you're looking at this going like, I'm so unhappy, this needs to change. And you've moved. In other words, you've moved in a good way towards Jesus. And so now you're noticing more things, and there's a big difference in your life.
And there's a gap.
There's a big gap between you and the way you live or the values you have. And so some things have shifted, and that could be one of the reasons why you're frustrated, and that's actually a good thing because you've grown. But what we always have to remember is God had patience with me.
Yeah.
God waited until I was ready. I mean, God has drawn me in, and maybe there's been some call out moments where God's called you out. But the truth is that you might not be in the same place as your spouse, and so now it's about asking the Lord to do some of that same work in their life as He's done in your life, and know that if He's changed you, He can change them. And I think that can bring the hope back into this to go, okay, this isn't all in my hands. This is a God thing.
Yeah.
This is a supernatural thing. This is a Holy Spirit thing, and He can do it. And so just coming alongside, being that voice of hope and help, being absolutely committed. These are the things that we think can make a big difference.
Yeah, have a humble heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tune in next month for part 2.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you for joining us today. Remember to share and subscribe and join us every single month. This is your counseling session.